Right, hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay. There was I had to update the software real quick beforehand, so whenever it does that, it seems to mess it up a little bit, but it should be. I think it's okay. Um, it's showing that it's all right, but little muted. Yeah, maybe a little bit, right? Um, again, I still think it's the chord problem is kind of what I think the issue is still. So we will see. Anyway, so interesting morning. Bad was good, or I'm sorry, good was bad. Kind of what we kind of expected. Today was today's Misla's first day on the new job, and just sounds like you're on a different mic. Yeah, it's the same mic. Well, I don't know. It's a different mic than what I had the like Thursday, Friday, but um, not, it's the same mic that I had before I ran the cord over with a vacuum cleaner and killed it. So, yeah. Whoops, my bad. Um, so, um, yeah, data was great, right? That not only was there an upward adjustment from last time, right? It was higher than expected this time. So, this has been one of the big kind of talking points has been, the economy or the employment and being too hot. We talked about it yesterday. If this number was better than expected, the market was going to get smoked, as it kind of is, right, or how it was. Um, so yeah, it's I don't really know how to say it. With their basically the stance this morning was that people still have so much disposable income right now at home that 2000 and 2001 really padded wallets so much, that it's still necessarily, the inflation is there. Everybody admits that it's there, but it hasn't caused a problem yet to where, um, you know, it's changing habits too much. Now we have the data was kind of skewed. We have, if you look at different groups inside of this employment statement, and again, this is one of the things I do like about, like a CNBC commentator, they dive into the specifics. I don't have time to look at the entire report, but they brought up some interesting things in there. Mainly being that our participation rate, while it looks like everything's going great, right? The participation rate is really crappy. They were saying that, our elderly, when I say elderly, I mean like the older part of the working group is very, very low, historically low, as far as participation rate goes. Lower so much so than they even said than Japan. I don't know if Japan has a big deal or not. But pretty much across the board, everything was kind of skewed to the point where the participation we have a labor shortage, but we have participation that is extremely low. So that kind of adds a kink into it. But today is absolutely one of those days where it's like, bad is good. It is what it is. Yeah, it's a little bit muffled. Yeah, maybe. It may be because I updated it. Like I said, I tried to change some of the settings on there. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go to advanced properties real quick. Audio monitor's off. Nope. Not going to mess with that. But that page has got some stuff there. Yeah, I mean, it's coming directly from NVIDIA broadcast. The other thing, too, is I haven't tested it yet. Hold on. You know what? There's one thing I could try. Let me try this. Hold on. Let's go here. Right now, I believe this is the one that I normally had it set on, the preset. And again, this changes all the controls around. I don't know if this is better, worse. Could be. Maybe better, maybe worse. I don't know. But this is the preset that I had it set on before. Like when it like automatically changes like the voice equalizer. So I don't know. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't really know. Yes, buddy. But we'll see if that's any better. But there is some kind of good things in there. The first one being that the average earnings, right, the average hourly earnings was a big jump. Not only was it bigger last time, it's big this time. So again, whenever you're in kind of an inflationary environment, this is a good one. This is one of those things that you do want. You want to have this be higher than kind of what you would expect. So I think this is a good one. Unemployment rate stayed the same, and again, that's fine. I didn't necessarily think that we were going to have too much of a change there. The kind of thinking was like, if this did jump, then it's like, oh, that's it, it's working. Well, not really. Canadian data, also not bad. The unemployment rate went down. That was unexpected, but it's really kind of hard with the way that oil is moving right now, as well as the dollar data today. What does it say? Pretty soft. I think the initial one was better. It could be. It could be. Actually, hold on. I could change this up to like this level. Hold on. Right there. So I can make this one a little bit louder. Like I said, half of this is like louder, but the voice quality, right? There's like 97 million different options. And, this is like, I got 99 problems, right? 99 different settings, and I don't understand any of them. So it's kind of like, yeah, you just kind of play around with it. So I can make it louder. Being softer is not a problem. It was the voice quality that we're looking for, as well as I'm still a bit nasally, obviously. Yeah, that has to do with the girl bringing her sickness home and the boy being sick. So you'll hear Kip bouncing around as well. Like I said, today is me and the Kipster day. It's part of our new life, right? Um, you know, Kip is in his year of being raised by dad. So mom's only actually Melissa's new job. She's only in the office 3 days a week, so it's nothing like a radio DJ, which is good. All right, as long as it's good, as long as you like it, Jeff. That's all that matters, right? Right? Yeah. Um, yeah, Kipster. Kip's like, yep, I like it. I like to hear myself talk. So he's funny that way. Hold on 1 sec. All right, there. Sounds good. All right. So yeah, so bad is good. I'm sorry, good is bad, really, as far as today goes. Um, you are seeing OPEC headlines coming up as well, which is another one here, talking about how the OPEC seen heading into oil policy rollover. A cut is not ruled out. It's sticking with its current oil output target when it meets on Sunday, right? Although a further cut is not completely off the table. Now, this is interesting, seeing oil doing what it's doing. And again, remember this data is a little bit lag coming out of, they're looking at it and prices going back and forth, and everybody's trying to provide oil stabilization right now, but no one's necessarily able to do it. So it's interesting they're talking about cutting, right? Particularly with the situation in China kind of changing a little bit, right? Um, I think that is kind of the interesting kind of take on it, right? Um, I'm curious to see if we're going to see more headlines on this one. I really don't know, and I'm curious to see if the headlines are even going to matter versus like a Chinese headline where they're cut, not cut. They're going to do something different with it. So it's news. It's something to look at, and it's just kind of to point out. But literally everything is going to be talking about this. Now, we did see this down here. Satellite image suggests Russia is planning an imminent large-scale missile strike. This used to be a monstrous. Whenever we got something like this, it's like, oh Jesus, this is it. This is the end. Not getting it as much now. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. Again, they do these things on Saturdays always, and that's why geopolitical events. It's like, oh, it's Saturday. All right, what are we going to do to mess the markets up? I don't know what a renewed offensive is going to do on either point. I mean, like I said, I don't know what kind of trajectory it changes at this point, but it's there. It's news. Something probably is going to come up. So, besides that, we are done for news for today. We got nothing else. And again, being a Friday, it'll be lower than expected. Most people will be out by 12. As far as movement goes, you would think, as much movement as, what we're getting in right now, that it would be, like, oh my God, there's so much movement. Really, it's kind of flat. I mean, look at the dollar Swiss. We're at 14 pips, right? Euro dollar, 31. The problem is the markets had already adjusted for this. We talked about it rising higher yesterday on pretty much all the pairs, and I'll show it to you. There was a bunch of trade setups this morning already. They're all done now. But even something like the euro pound, right? You're seeing it kind of kick back just a little bit. Overall, I would say that none of this is really really earth-shattering data, right? I'm trying to think, what is what is really next? I don't even know, right? I There's just not much for today, right? That's it. Everything is out. They're going to be dissecting this data all day long. Like I said, all the commentary this morning was great, talking about how all week we saw weakness, but yet magically today the number justifies that. Hey, listen, they're not done. They're going to raise inflation. They're going to raise the interest rate more. They have to because one of the biggest causes is labor, and labor is they're hiring more. No, we're not going to do that. No, 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 no. That's not what that's for. Hold on a second. One sec. My computer case has a nice little circle on the top. I don't run liquid cooling, but if I did, there's actually a spot for the liquid cooler. Kip has now found it, and he is trying to put paper clips in it. So I don't believe paper clips, and no, we don't need to play with this either. Paper clips is not a a net positive thing for a computer, so I'm trying to avoid him. Trying to figure out how long. No, we're stop. Come on, we're not going to do that. Gonna have to figure out how to cover that hole because he's like, "Oh, look at this, Dad! I can put paper clips in it." It's like, yeah, paper clips are not going to work out well inside my PC. So, yeah. All right. Let's see here. All right. So with that, obviously no news tomorrow. Sunday night we do have the OPEC meetings, and again, that's what I was kind of getting at with this OPEC Plus, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. I would expect some headlines from it, and like I said, it's not like OPEC Plus is really necessarily big supporters of the United States anymore. They could care less at this point. So, okay, what are you doing? Sorry, he's all over the. There we go. No, what are we doing? No. Okay, you want that? You can have that. So we'll see that, and then obviously the ECB talking late, and then going into early Monday morning, you can see we start with ISM, which again, remember the manufacturing ISM was horrible. Yep. And we have cash rate changing. Obviously, again, not going, no 0.75 raise, but we do have a cash raise coming in for the Aussie. So we'll see how we're going to start positioning for that one. Buddy, what are you doing? Sorry, he was playing with the thing again. All right, with that, let's go over and let's get into all the craziness. Now, interestingly enough, you're seeing the VIX. You're like, whoa, that's a big gap down. Yeah, it's because the news is out now. We all know what the news is. It's currently showing up 1.5. That's just because we gapped up from yesterday. And again, we knew what was coming today with non-farm payroll. And you're seeing it push down right now. But you're like, wait a second, everything's deep in the red. Yeah, as it should be. I mean, that's it. The news today was absolutely without a doubt red-based news because the funny part was. The funny part was the CNBC was like, yeah, everybody listens to Powell. Like, they listen to Powell when they like what he says, but then they ignore him when they don't like what he says, right? And that's kind of like what is the common thing right now, right? I support you until you say something I don't like, and then I don't, I'm going to pretend you didn't say it, right? It's kind of what we're dealing with. But again, all the indices are in the red. You're seeing all the commodities minus oil, and again, we got some of those headlines from OPEC. All deep, and again, we talked about getting short before the news yesterday in gold and silver, and again, they both had great trade setups. They're already out at this point. Nice, runs to the downside. So, again, we were kind of at peaks. Same thing with oil, and then even natural gas. All the commodities were kind of in similar situation. As far as the dollar goes, yes, immediate pop up, and now you're seeing a retrace. Everybody trying to get into it late. It is correct. It is predictable. It's exactly what should have happened. So, all right, just give it to me. Stop. So, yeah, dollar's doing what it should have done. So let's go over to the Aussie dollar. So there was your Aussie dollar trade. Yesterday morning, we were sitting kind of right back in this area. We talked about this one potentially being actually right here, potentially being a top. No. You can have this, but you cannot have that. I will be cleaning my disc later today. Here, you can have this too. Here, you can have that too, and this, but you cannot have paper clips. All right, he's very inquisitive. So there's the setup. It's already out at this point. Does it justify a retracement? Not really. Again, you are seeing some profit taking coming back in. It's not doing it in an area where you were concerned about. You can look at the 23 and it's like, well, why didn't it stop here? Because the 23 has already been hit multiple times. We were expecting a bit of a failure. If anything, maybe this one does come back up and we continue to get this one short. I think it makes sense. I mean, right now, I think everybody understands that, you can touch these. they are going to continue to raise interest rates. So nothing new there. But there's your trade. It's already done. There's really nothing to set up on a Friday afternoon. I think at this point, we look for this one to kind of push back down again, and then we look for a potential comment on Monday night with our interest rate rise in Australia to take this one a bit higher. Also, yen. So yesterday, we kind of set up this Harry Potter. Here's where we were right here yesterday, forming the space. That's why it's drawn just to this level. You're like, why did you stop it there? Because that's where we were at yesterday morning. We did talk about a break below 92.13. And again, we've drawn it on about 6 different charts. There's your drop, there's your base, there's your pullback, and you can see at 1:30 this morning, and this one took over and pushed all the way back down again. So, this was an easy one. Again, the alert triggered on this one. This was 65 pips. And again, you can see it went a little bit farther than that and actually put in a bottom, again, kind of for news this morning. So, but again, waking up in the green. This one tagged itself out at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, I don't know, maybe you were still up. You could have still been up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, God, Tipster. Woo, stinky boy. As this is the other thing, Debbie, you'll appreciate this one. As we are trying to adjust to new schedules with mom not around, right? We have to adjust all our schedules. And yeah, he's smelly boy. So will this retrace back up again? Probably a little bit. If it does pull back into this level, I think that's pretty decent for a short on Monday night. We'll see what it does over the weekend, as well as, again, there'll be some yen action in this one. We'll see what it does, really in the next 2 days. And then again, Monday night with that interest rate rise, that'll be a great way to trade this one in the overnight session. But again, Harry Potter waking up with 60-something pips on that one, or maybe if you stayed up for the European session, you were out already. So not much else we can do with it. Yeah. You say that now, Debbie, but this is a stinky boy. I put him on the floor. I was like, yep, I'm not going to deal with that. Not the whole time. What? You stink. You stay down there. Yeah, you stink. Here. 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 Take this. Take this. Here, what do you want? Here. You want this? You can have this. Go ahead. There you go. All right. So that's all CM. Not much else we can do with it. Again, you woke up. There's not really necessarily a trade in there. It was because we were switching over the dollar at that point. But, Aussie dollar, nice, easy setup this morning. Again, we talked about this yesterday. You guys all should have grabbed this one. Very, very easy. Chop, 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 chop. And again, you could have got entry here, even though that's a little bit risky. Again, easy base, pullback, and drop. Euro dollar. So euro dollar, we were talking about finding a base, and I can extend this up there. You can see we were obviously sitting inside of a base level. You could have grabbed it right here. Again, we were looking for the 106.19. We didn't make it up there, but again, kind of a telltale sign. It went up, 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 and then it's holding, 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 holding. Not really in a situation where you want to take this one long. We were in the upper 33%, so we were sitting in the sell kind of bearish look, right? So again, very, very fast drop, came back down almost all the way to 50, and it stopped where it should have. There's your base. There's your test right there off the top of this candle. You can see it touched, and what it run into? Exactly that. So had you been looking to get this one short, that would have been your target down here at 104.35. That's exactly what it did. Had you played this one and said, okay, there's my level of risk. This is what it would look like before news. The risk on this one was about 15 pips. Again, not very much. And then again, your 1 to 3 is only sitting right there at 45 pips. You can see the profit where you should have taken on the other end was about 95 away. So either one, you were good. And again, that's non-FAR payroll. It can cause some movement, but there you go if you would set this one up. I didn't, unfortunately, for this one. It was there, but again, there was other opportunities. I'm not going to, my opinion on this one. I don't take 5 at the same exact trade. No. We're not doing that. No. Yeah, I'm going to have to find something that covers this. Now he's like, oh, that'll fit in the hole. We're going to put it in there. Here. But we just cannot put it in there, buddy. No. That was close. Yeah. He's going to have these things all in there. Great. So easy play. Euro pound. So euro pound, yesterday we talked about this pulling back up if we found the bottom. It went a little tiny bit lower. You can see that the 11 o'clock candle, just after we talked about it, it did go lower. It still didn't enter. I mean, that's kind of where the zone was. We missed this one by just a very, very small amount. I was looking at this one actually late last night. I was like, oh, it's close. It's close. And it missed it by 2.9 pips. So less than 3 pips is what we missed it by for the reversal, and it is pushing back down again. We're sitting in the middle of the range. European market is closing right now, so really not much we can do about it here, but you're not sticking it in the computer. You're not going to stick it in there. not much we can do. I would say right now, based off all the data, again, I do think this one will turn and flip, and we've talked about this on a few. Yeah, you can put that in your mouth, but just don't put it in the computer. Okay. Um, Probably rolls back down again. I'd like to see us starting the week, maybe potentially down here at the 85.50 range, and maybe we can look for a reversal. But right now, again, that would have been the trade. We didn't get up there. There's plenty of other opportunity out there that we could have traded though. All right, let's go to Euro yen. So Euro yen yesterday, again, we talked about this one being high. We were sitting actually right here. We talked about that kind of pullback, being that it was a 23.6. This was part of that discussion, that it was close, right? Now it's obviously moved. Oh, I'm just looking for this. There we go. We do the profit target on there. So again, this is out. Pull that off. Again, we got a nice little pullback to it. I'd say right now on this one, I think this one is probably going to pull up. Most likely, probably in that range. And again, it'll be kind of on the back end of the 23.6. It's very similar to what we're seeing in like the euro pound here, where it's kind of like, is it good? Is it not good? Yeah, it's the same pullback with the yen right now. Right now, I would say this is more of a yen play. When the yen kind of deteriorates in its kind of overnight strength right now, again, this is all news right now. How far away are we? 55. Got 2 hours. I'd say on this one, this is a potential Sunday night trade. So if we're getting all this yen kind of weakness right now based off of what we're seeing in the indices, again, we probably will have some type of reversal, because that's just the natural kind of progression of it. If we can run up to that zone, that would not be a bad area of, to take this to as a sell on a Sunday night. Yeah, I'd say it's not a bad level. Let's put some price tags on that one. Right around 142.23. It's probably a decent level for like a Sunday night reversal, and all it is a trend continuation of European weakness. Again, you may say, well, why is the euro weak? Again, European weakness is coming in because they said that they're almost at neutral, even though they started later than everybody else raising. So, that's kind of a sign where it's like, well, we know that the United States is definitely going to raise more, right? We knew that already anyway. That was not a surprise, even though the market was like, yep, we're just going to believe that it's doing this, right? We knew that was coming in, but now the data is also justifying it. So it's kind of like, I think people are starting to believe that, yep, they will continue to raise. We could see 50-50. We could see 50-25-25. But the reality is they are going to keep raising it. Decent Sunday night base trade, but that's about it for right now. Pound yen or pound dollar. This is what we drew yesterday, talking about a top on this one. And we said we kind of needed a topping candle. We had something there, but we had a bigger zone. If you had taken, and again, this is what I drew yesterday, from that top. If you continue that across, we not only tagged it at the European Open, we also tagged it right here at news. So, I mean, either one, it really doesn't matter which one you would have taken from it. There's what your trade looks like, and there's your 1 to 3. 20 pip risk, 60 in the other direction. I think that brings us to like what was it? It was 60. Oh, 60, 45. So yeah, we're like 160, 170 right now as far as pip. No, we're not going to put that in there either. One like 160, 170, depending on your entries, what risk level you're taking. But again, we drew it yesterday. It's pretty good. I drew this down looking at this as our profit target. And look at that. I missed it. Actually, if I put a horizontal line there, check this out. I'll put it on the bottom of this one. Look at that. Not too shabby. And again, here's where the news was, not obviously here. This is at 4 o'clock in the morning. But, not a bad little trade. Again, pretty easy. Nothing to say about it now. It's already out. Will we see a bit of a retracement? Probably, yeah. As people are just, getting profit from it. And people are like, yeah, that's it. Short the dollar yen, or short the pound dollar. What are you trying to do? Mess up my lap? I'm going to do webinar? Do webinar? Here. Here, you want this? You can have this. You can have all these things. Mr. I have an attention span of like 2 minutes here. Definitely worse than the girl. So yeah, already out at this point. Really, not much we can say about it. Again, hopefully you guys were able to grab this one. This was an easy one. Again, we did the setup yesterday. Um, yeah, I'd be done with this one for the day. Like I said, if it retraces back up again, I'm totally fine with that, and we'll see where it kind of ends on Sunday night. Pound yen. So pound yen, we were sitting right here, and we talked about this one. Has already been triggered. It was a little bit late, but if you are short, it was a good short, and there'd be two profit targets. There was your first profit target, and again, you can see it kind of based down and got stuck, and then came down and did the same thing, hit the second profit, based around, and there you go. That's what it's dealing with from this morning, as far as a reversal coming in at potentially, again, based off of news. It did it at about 4:30 this morning, and you can see there's your red, there's your green. I'm sorry, green, red, and green trigger right there. Again, if you had boxed off this bottom piece right here and saying, okay, there's our new bottom, you can see that right there, it touched. Here's what your overnight trade was. And again, this is at 8:30. You may say, wait a second, why, what happened at 8:30? Well, I mean, yes, you guys know what happened at 8:30, but your 1 to 3 is right there. Okay. And I'll move these levels so you can kind of see that it absolutely did touch. Okay. So I set it in for look out Jolts Wednesday. I'm always worried about jumping my stop if I'm wrong. Nadex is no good due to the bid-ask spreads have gotten too big. I'm right to be cautious, at least for now. Plus, I already got a weekly profit. Yeah, the cable was classic book. Yeah. What are you doing? No, now you pull it apart. No. Yeah, I mean, non-farm, obviously, there is a higher level of risk associated with it. I mean, there's no secret about that. And yeah, absolutely, could it jump through? Yeah, of course. But again, there's multiple ways. I mean, you could sit out and not take it if you don't like the risk of it. And again, everybody's risk level and tolerance is different. So I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to it. Um, you know, for the most part, I would say that with currencies, you tend not to get the gaps because the markets are so big. With indices, yes, you can get a gap if the data is just astronomical. Because remember that, a lot of times it's pre-market hours, the volume is not in there yet. It's preparing, but it's not in there yet. But currencies, because it's so huge, if you're doing something like the euro dollar, pound dollar, it tends not to gap. Even if you look on those small charts, it kind of ticks its way up because it is such a big market. So, you know, it is what it is. Again, you could always take a smaller position size. You can say, hey, listen, I don't like the risk with it, but I'm going to take a half position size. Um, but you just you tend not to get the gaps with it. But again, non-farm is obviously a big one. You're 100% right with that one. So, but yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, you never know when those things are going to happen. And again, it's why I'm a proponent. Like you can like people. I love people like, oh, I trade currencies. I'm like, oh, what do you trade? And it's like, oh, currency futures is like, well, it's a different market. It's nice to say that yes, you think that you are a currencies trader, but you're not. That's like saying, if you're an options trader, right? You are not. What does that mean? It's like, no, you're technically you trade stocks. You just use options on it. It's a vehicle, right? But the futures market has rules and regulations and intricacies that you don't have in forex, right? So it's hard to say that it's a better option, and I would wholeheartedly agree. It is totally different, and you can get some really really bad things in futures that you cannot get in forex. So something like non-farm, you trade it with a big boy, and then you tend not to have the issues with the gaps. Today's data was a big move, but there was no gap associated with it. I mean, it was literally technically it was exactly where it is. And honestly, the best way to do it is just watch it on a regular basis, and you'll see. I mean, today's data was obviously a big move. I mean, um, get confidence by watching the release and become a master at the release. Does that guarantee that you're not going to have a situation where there's a jump? No, but you'll get a read on the chart. It's just experience, and that's pretty much everything. Become a master of a pair, right? You can master a pair and an event, so, but pretty easy. And again, something like the pound yen though. Would you? I mean, again, this is obviously it's in the level. Pound yen is pound yen where you want to play non-farm. Well, it has increased volatility, increased spread. It's going to cost you more, and it's not going to have the same volume, right? It's meant as a pair to play volatility. Non-farmer's already volatile enough. Do I need to kind of double up on the volatility? Nah, not so much, right? Not so much. Would you stop? Oh my God, dude! Here, take this then. Here. You got this. You got this. All right. So, sorry, get this getting into stuff again. That's what we got. As far as retracements go on this one, you could draw fibs from high to low on this one and say, wait a second, we got a 50% coming in, and we do. You're right. there's actually a confirmed level sitting right there, and we're really close to it right now. The problem with me on this one is it is Friday afternoon, right? The European market is closing in the next 2 hours, right? So with them closing in the next 2 hours, what's really gonna drive the pound? Or will it be purely a yen-based play? And it'll be purely yen-based play, but you're losing one of the big factors. The central banks are stepping out. And again, volume overall is going to start kind of lightening. So it's one of those things that, again, I'm just not a big believer in trading all Friday afternoon. At this point, if you haven't banked your profits of the week, it's better to conserve your capital than try to get overly risky with it, if that makes sense. But if you are looking for something, and if we don't break, if we don't breach it from now till, Sunday night, that 165.61 could be a nice place to open up on Sunday night. Looking for this one to, take a short. All right. So that's all we got there. Dollar CAD. So there's the pattern we talked about before, talking about these things, breaking through a level, basing, pulling back. It was in the other direction, obviously, for that other trade, but it's the same pattern we've drawn, a million times on these charts before. It's just a momentum continuation pattern. There's many different names for it. We call it a Harry Potter because it looks like a lightning bolt. Now, this is one we were looking to get into it yesterday. It did obviously blow through. That's not what our trade setup was. Here, you can have this, and this, and this, but you cannot have that. It's kind of doing it now, but really the trade was here for this morning. This one is getting kind of an oil influence to it right now, so I would kind of not be into it as much. Again, we were looking for a Harry Potter yesterday. This push through was not it. This didn't go through. This didn't go through, but it's like, yeah, this level smoked. So seeing this pattern, I mean, that's what the pattern looks like. You can have that, buddy. You know, it has the right pattern. I would say right now, I would look for this to continue to climb up to probably, I don't know. You can see that this literally turned off a 50. It's like, yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah. I'd say conservatively, probably up to here, 135.63. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yeah. It's all right. This one doesn't really excite me too much either. I just think there's so many factors involved with this one right now. I'm just not. Yes. What are you doing? I'm trying to figure out what you're doing. Huh? You want to get down? Okay. You can get down. There you go. Yeah. Now this. There we go. Put that over here. He loves 3D printed stuff. It's hysterical. Mark that we'll keep running. But yeah, we were talking for push up. And again, could we potentially bank off this, 35.20 again? Probably. I mean, obviously there's sellers that stop it. So yeah. Say good to know we're getting charged such a price action after year. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and they all have. I mean, that's the thing, Jeff. Everybody, you got to understand. Everything has its own kind of heartbeat and a pulse. Everyone's always like, which one's best? And there's so many different answers to that I can give people. Some of it is, what time are you trading? What is your risk tolerance level? What size is your account? There's just so many different parameters that really kind of, change that answer around. It depends on what time of day you're trading. I mean, there's so much in there. But typically, if you are, going to be, trading currencies, I would say euro dollar and pound. I mean, euro dollar is the most traded pair in the world, right? I mean, that's an easy one. Trading the most volatile pair or the most liquid pair in the world, yeah, it's a good idea, right? You have a lot more protection than you would otherwise. So, not necessarily bad. And once you learn it, you'll figure out very fast that it definitely has a heartbeat. It definitely moves in specific ways. News releases definitely are, it definitely triggers, in ways that are specific to that pair that you won't see in other pairs. There is some change happening. Obviously, with the UK, you are actually seeing a greater spread right now with interest rates with things like the dollar yen versus what we're seeing with like the pound. So, the dynamics are changing in the market. That's why you gotta always, there's no tried and true same every time, right? Same but different. So there's where your dollar Swiss push looks like. Now this one, you look at this and you say, okay, well, listen, we just kind of banked off the 50%. You're right. It was actually a level over here. I think actually right now the level up here at the 61.8 is one that I'd like a little bit more because it's kind of washed out all the news, right? It'll wash out all the news. And the reason why I'm looking at this, when you could say, well, wait, you just said dollar strength, all that, right? Yeah, I did. But if Russia starts shooting missiles and stuff like that going in, technically the geopolitical hedge out there is not the U.S. when we're involved in a conflict. It's the Swiss. I mean, because they have neutrality. Now, they haven't actually done neutrality in this scenario. They have put sanctions and other things, so they haven't really done it. So it's not the same effect. But I will say, I mean, there will be some retracement in the dollar, right? You will see some, some movement coming back again. So, with it rallying all this today, I think, when it returns to normalcy, we see it kind of roll back to the downside. So, eh, bring during, showing recession, hiring in the manufacturing. So they're like lowering orders and productivity, but hiring more people in manufacturing. So they said it's kind of the data. There are some questions about the data, but I thought that was interesting because again, when we talk about manufacturing, we talk about the Dow, which again is a proxy for the yen. So yeah, that's what we got going on. But as far as trades right now, again, it had already put a bottom in there. You can see this is like 637, 730. It was prime with a red, green, red, or green, red, green, and then just an explosion up. There's probably profit taking coming back in. Wouldn't be surprised if this rolls back down. But we said yesterday that 135 was going to be a big one. We talked about 135 potentially being the bottom and it bouncing off of it. But you can see the Europeans at 2 o'clock this morning were like, no, 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 not 135. We want 130 or 133.50. That's what we want. Yeah, exactly, Kipster. Exactly. Oh, so we missed it by 50 pips, but point. They were using that level as a psychological level. That's it. Cryptos kind of mixed right now. They're coming back again from the initial shock. Again, Doji at 77, which is good. TLT obviously big spikes down, and it's kind of fighting right back and forth because it's like up, we're good, raising, recession. What are we doing, right? One number is great, the next number it's kind of like, well, is it good or is it bad, right? Nobody really knows. So overall, I would say bonds. Again, now if the market finally decides that they are going to listen to what Powell is saying, maybe we see this as the top on this one. I think it should be, but we'll see how it rolls in. This market has been very, very weird lately. Looking at oil now. Oil very, very choppy. Yesterday, we know that we missed the top. What? What do you want? This? This? Where do you want this? Here, this. There you love that. Oil. It says up 0.34 or 0.39, 0.4, whatever it is. Really, this is where we were sitting yesterday. We got that nice little push down, and then that's it. It's just kind of flatlined, and we're in that area right now. There has been some headlines. I don't think nothing that right now that I'm worried about. I think what oil does is probably stabilize until it figures out what happens with OPEC. Um, Again, I think a lot can happen with OPEC. I don't know about OPEC cutting. I think that's kind of wishful thinking, right? It's a headline, but we'll see if it actually gives us any movement out of it. On the way again. Yeah. So again, non-trending market on a Friday afternoon. This market closes earlier. Not really something that we're looking to trade for the most part. And again, had you been in this yesterday for the initial move, you were great, but otherwise you're just stuck, right? Stuck. And again, it pulled back to a level where you see buyers, but again, there are sellers right here as well. So it's kind of bracketed in. Now, natural gas continue to deteriorate. We mentioned yesterday about how we had this. We were kind of on the bottom side, and we talked about having a target. Come on, stop. Here. We talked about having a target down at 664. That's where we hit it. We can see it. We based around, and we're kind of stuck there right now. This market also ends a little bit earlier. I think that this one, I kind of like this pullback. Uh, what? There, you're good. Melissa's like, he's such a baby. I was like, why? Because you mean he is needy? Like, what do you mean he is a baby? But he's got the wine thing. Like, you tell him no, he cries. It's like, oh God. What? This? This? And he points at everything. Like, I can't wait till he talks because I'm so tired of him pointing. My life is a translation of pointing. And if you have kids, you know exactly what I mean. He just points. He's like, I was like, I don't speak point. So yeah, we're at the 61.8 level. Wasn't super clean. Again, this pushing back is not bad. I do know the East Coast is under kind of like it was like 28 degrees this morning, so the cold weather's coming in. And actually, a lot of comments. Everybody talking about how it's going to be such a cold winter, such a cold winter, such a cold winter. I don't, it's kind of strange. We don't know what the winter's going to be like, but they're kind of trying to sell us on that it's going to be a very cold winter. So I'm curious if this is going to find a bottom and, something comes up, whether it be Russia or something globally, talking about how, it's going to be a natural gas supply shortage. And we start to see this one start to kind of rally again. So it's right now, it's in kind of no man's land. It's in kind of that 50% area. Again, we don't have a bullish or a bias kind of mindset on it because it is sitting in the middle. So for right now on a Friday, again, just cautious. I probably wouldn't trade this one much. Gold, there's where your gold is. Yesterday, we literally talked about this one to a T. We said look at 1800 as being a potential area. If we were sitting up there before the news, that absolutely we could take shorts off of it. And again, put a new top in. Base came back, didn't go as high. At 4 o'clock, we held and maintained, and we sat in there until 8:30. I don't know what to tell you. $5 risk, 16 and a half. Is what 530, and then 1650 on the other side. I mean, it's exactly what we talked about yesterday. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to yesterday's session. But we talked about 1800 being the reversal level, particularly if it was able to hold that level and maintain that level for today, and it did. So trade is done, and you can see now it's having some problems. Like, oh, but it went to the right spot. This is where you should have taken profit, right there, right, based off of the green candle on the start of the move, and boom, look at that, hit the profit target, and it's like, oh, now we're struggling. So yeah, why don't you put that on the floor? Here, why don't you do this on the floor? Here, take it on the floor. Here, you can bring it down there. You can play with it. Here, ooh, right there. Boom, right there. Here, put your circles in there. Here, here. All right. So again, pretty much dead on as far as what we were looking for yesterday. Silver. Silver also. Again, got a top that was put in at 130 this morning. We talked about this one getting short, looking for a potential rollover at 23. We ended up getting a one candle top. Again, it pulled up, it based in one, and then pushed away and never got back up to it. You can see at 8 o'clock, it kind of came up just a little bit early and got really, really close on the 8:30, but we were looking for the ability to short. The 8 o'clock candle wouldn't have given us risk. Then the most recent base would have been back here. And again, nice little run. It was 9 cents and 41 cents. So again, trades out, nothing you can do about it. Now you're seeing the profit taking, bringing it back into the middle. So again, closing up higher up here in the 23 range. Again, I think that's going to give us the ability to also look for trades next week on U.S. news. For the most part, I'm just kind of stuck in the anytime we're going to have news, I'm looking to get short silver and gold, especially when it is this high on the curve and sitting up inside of levels that were established in the European session. Really, I mean, what more could you say about that one at this point? It's for the most part, it is done, right? So can't really trade it, but again, short bias on this. As far as Tesla goes, again, quite choppy back and forth today. Again, big push down and then it rallied back up again. Apple, same thing, big push down and just trying to retrace. Indices overall, again, this is another one of those ones. Again, we talk about, when can we trade opening prints and when are the best ones to trade? Unfortunately, on this one, the hard part is you have something like non-farm payroll, which is huge, monstrous. It jacked the markets through. So your 9:30 candle was right here. Now there was a bottom there, and again, nothing really over here that we were really kind of crazily interested in. After this moved again, the trade would have been to get short off the open. It did give us a green, although the red kind of messed it up. It did put a base in. So I mean, at 9:30 is right here. Could you have been looking for a parabolic retracement? Yeah, you could have. Is it the best trade to take right after the non-farm news that we got? No, not by any means. So yeah, it's not really a fair representation of how you trade this one. And again, this is why I always tell you guys you should have multiple strategies. You don't just trade just one. For this exact purpose, it's like, hey, non-farm payroll just came in. Yeah, what are we doing with it now, right? So, so yeah, no opening print, no qualification from it, too much of a move. But again, you can see we were sitting up in levels talking about getting short. NQ looks exactly the same. Right. We talked about a level here, but obviously non-farm is going to trump that. It came all the way through and pushed down, and now it's about a 50% retracement, right? Probably 50. Yeah, 61. Yeah, right at 61. So if this turns now and continues to get worse on a fundamental level, it absolutely should. Because like I said, the data is a crappy if you're in the indices market. And again, obviously we can invalidate this one. We're looking for this one to come down in base. It's been blown through right now, so nothing we can do with it. Again, there was some decent tops in this one. The confirmation there. Yeah, I would say bearish today, but I don't like it. I mean, at this point, it is what it is. There'll be people taking this off the 61 because they're like, oh, look at this magical mystical fib level, right? High to low, right? There's your morning news. There's your pullback. And it's kind of like at 50, maybe you got out when it came here. If not, you got stopped out because it hit the 61.8. Now it's kind of trying again. So maybe this is the level, right? I don't know. It's Friday. They should be done. We talked about like 200, 250, something like that pips in the overnight. So YM. YM looks exactly the same. And again, it was at a level of basing. We talked about a potential level, and it's actually bouncing off that level right now. In the overnight, let's see. Yeah, 61.8 also. And again, it's at an old level, so we'll pull that off. Let's see, is this a double? Can we get a double piece there? No, we can't. Unfortunately, I was like, oh, can we get an extra one? Nope, we can't. Yeah, this is kind of set up the same thing. I mean, we're literally sitting at fib level, so any of those technical kind of intraday traders out there that are, looking for the magical 61.8. I mean, you're at 10:30 reversal time. You're bouncing off the 61.8 right now. If you're looking to get short, obviously, if it goes any higher than this, it's already been here 3 times. There's nothing stopping this one from going all the way up. So, got to show some extra caution, but yeah, trade's over, guys. Trade's over. You should have been short at the open with the news, right? I'm not the open. I'm sorry. With the news release, right? The open would have been a reversal because, and you may say, why is this happening? Why? Here's the open. There's your 930. Why is this going up? The data's horrible. You're right. But here's what the futures market and all the quote market did. They shorted it, and now all the retail traders are trying to get short the market because that data is horrible. CNBC just said it. Everybody else said it, and they're getting short, and that's why the market is going up because it's stopping out all the people that don't understand when to trade news. So, and now that they're closing their positions down because they've lost too much money on it, is when we typically see it roll back down. So, it's pretty scripted. Now, Russell, interestingly enough, has actually retraced all the way back, right? This level, again, not going to hold. We kind of got the 78. We're going to pull that one. Let's run this top down. Now, see this one. So this one is also kind of in a level right here where you're like, oh, look at that, right? It's a full retracement, but again, it's a 16.18. It had a lot of sellers up here before and then exploded out. So kind of in the same area. And again, 930 is right here. Everybody that trades is smart that knows that, look at that. I know non-farm came in. It is really, really crappy. Markets are down. It's being a red day. That's it. Sell at the open, right? Because that's when they think they get in. And since they sold at the open, it's gone and retraced this full parabolic move all the way back up to the origin of the move. So if you parabolic retrace this bad boy, you're out. There actually was a zone here. Let's see if that's. I think we actually marked this one off yesterday. Wow, look at that. Parabolic move in. Red, green. I'm sorry. Green, red didn't go as low. Right there is the long signal. And all the way back up again. So parabolic move with news. So gotta love when it does that, when it works out that way. Yeah. Yeah. Not much else to say. I would say that this one is also probably in an area where it could potentially be short. It is the strongest of all of them, so it will be the laggard behind, but it has retraced back all the way up. So, there's something in there. It's all right. I think if you're going to look short, I think a couple of the other ones are probably a little bit better to short than this one, but To each his own. Everybody's going to trade that one a little bit differently. That's it for today. It's only 10:25, but as I said, a lot of the trades happen this morning early with non-farm. It's typically not a post. I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but kind of post-news release day. It is a Friday, so you typically want to get out early. And again, it's been a week for news, so there's been plenty of movement. But there has been so many trade setups in the overnight on this. Not just this, not just the Russell, but in general. A lot to take advantage of. So, what are you doing now? I was looking at him. I was like, "Are you gonna walk?" Still not walking. He'll take a step towards me, and then he'll walk across the floor on his knees. So I don't know if that counts as walking or what. But all right, so let's go ahead and do the drawing. So as we know, again, I'm not allowed to mention names. Neuro gets very mad. Whoops. I hope Neuro doesn't win today because then everybody will be screaming that it is rigged. I know, right? It's absolutely 5 o'clock somewhere, you know. And now in the United States, Jeff, technically it's 4:20 somewhere, right? Right? Technically 4:20 somewhere. That's what everybody's focusing on now. You got to catch up with the times, my friend. Alcohol is bad, but medicinal other things. Um, you have a friend. I don't know if she's in Oregon, Colorado, whatever it is, whatever the one that did the mushrooms. She's like, yeah, we have a store that opened up that says for all your mushroom needs, come here, and it's technically not legal yet, but I don't know. Some store opened. She's like, I'm going to the mushroom store today. I was like, really? I'm like, that's actually a thing. Like, you can actually go to a mushroom store. Like, look, here's what it is. It says for all your mushroom needs. I was like, wow. You know. So yeah, it's 4:20 somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, Nora's like, yeah, it's 4:20 here right now, baby. I'm out. So it is what it is. All right, let's close it down. Let's do the drawing for today. Who do we got? Who do we got? Winner of today's drawing is. All right. I was nervous there. I was nervous. I saw the N and I was like, oh Jesus, here we go. It's rigged. But obviously, it's not rigged if Ernest is winning. We all know, or at least all of us think. Um, he did ban himself. He did. That's why he wasn't here for 2 days, right? He did ban himself. But didn't we have rules regarding that? We did. We tried, right? We tried. So again, let's close it down. Let's give him his chips. Where's he at down here? He's fallen off the leaderboard though, so he's definitely not at the top anymore. Whoops. He's taking some big losses, but we'll give him his 25. All right. With that, guys, I am out of here. You guys have a great weekend. I got to go change Mr. Stinky, right? Mr. Stinky is having a good time, but unfortunately, Dad is not having a good time. So we need to go fix the Stinkmeister and go have some breakfast. And I'm out of coffee, so I need to go get some more coffee as well. So good trading. Need anything? Shoot me a message on Discord. If not, I will catch you guys Monday morning at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. There'll probably be some gaps this weekend. Again, I want to see what Russia's going to do with the missiles. And again, the big thing that is going to be the OPEC headlines and what OPEC is thinking, saying, doing on Sunday night. So I expect that we will get some movement. So with that said, you guys have a great one. I'll catch you next week and have a wonderful weekend. Stay dry, stay warm, and see you then.